Psycho Research. My name is Estienne Cronje. Our last vlog last week looked at anxiety during the troublesome time and some of the effective ways of managing or preventing it. If you haven't watched it yet, please follow the link in the description and go check it out. This week at Psycho Research, we decided to shift our focus in the opposite direction. We are constantly bombarded with negative information and articles in the media, whether it's on TV, radio or social media. We have noticed that little to none of the media's coverage focuses on the positives out there, such as the high recovery rates and the death rates in the current pandemic. Every single death is reported in an article, and few if any articles about every single recovery. Fear sells, it causes chaos, and it sparks obsession. This is where our perspective is influenced and why perspective is so important. During this pandemic, we are constantly reminded and informed of the negative things in life. Thus, in essence, it starts to condition us to always assume a negative perspective. If you have watched last week's episode, you will remember that we need to filter the information that we allow in our lives, as this will help us to obtain more of a sense of control during a time where everything feels out of control. So this week we are focusing on happiness, positivity and perspective, as well as our attitude. So how do you define this concept of happiness? In general, happiness is understood as a positive emotion, and it's regarding the pleasurable activities we partake in throughout our daily lives. Pleasure, comfort, gratitude and hope, as well as inspiration, are all examples of positive emotions that increases our happiness and moves us to flourish. From a scientific perspective, happiness is referred to as eudaimonia, the presence of positive emotions and the absence of negative emotions. Today in scientific literature, there is some agreement about the aspects that make up the theories of happiness. There are three basic views of happiness. Number one, hedonism. In other words, to be happy is to experience as a whole a majority of pleasure, so hedonia. Number two, the life satisfaction view, which is to be happy is to have a favorable attitude about one's life as a whole, either over its entirety or just over a limited period of time. This is called eudaimonia. Number three, the affective state theory. This theory states that happiness depends on an individual's overall emotional state. So if we take all three perspectives into consideration, we can conclude that happiness is a subjective experience. This is because we are, as I have stated last week, unique individuals, and it essentially comes down to what brings elation to one person will not necessarily satisfy another person. So when we are talking about happiness, we are referring to a person's enjoyment or satisfaction, which may last just a few moments or extend over a period of a lifetime. Happiness does not have to be expressed in order to be enjoyed, which is important. And this is because it is an internalized experience, varying in certain degrees from mild satisfaction to wild euphoria. And that depends from person to person, because remember, we are unique. So now the question is, how do we create or boost our happiness? Happiness stems from the chemicals that are naturally produced in our bodies. As I've explained last week, exercise causes us to release endorphins or happy hormones. This chemical or hormone is responsible for decreasing our feelings of depression and pain. So those of us who spend our free time in some sort of a physical activity experience higher pleasant activated feelings than those who don't. Another interesting fact, which I think most of us are already aware of and or have read about, is that eating chocolate literally means eating happiness. When we eat chocolate, not an excessive amount, some ingredients stimulate serotonin in our brain, which then produces the feelings of joy. Then, on a side note, but still about the chemicals in our body, when we set short-term achievable goals, we choose a one-way ticket down the happiness road by releasing dopamine, which is also a feel-good chemical or hormone that motivates us to succeed and drives us forward. So in our day-to-day lives, we can consistently choose to act in ways that direct our brains to make us feel more happy. Many researchers have found that if we, on a habitual basis, focus on the positive aspects in life, it will be beneficial to our well-being. So we can proactively practice behaviors that makes us happier. This includes doing things to increase our gratitude, such as keeping a list of things that we are grateful for, as an example. Taking personal responsibility means not blaming others for our own unhappiness. So this means figuring out ways in which we can be happy despite other people's negative behaviors or despite the external circumstances we might experience. If we take personal responsibility, we recognize an all-important truth about happiness, which is our happiness depends much more on our own attitude and perspective than it does about objective, external circumstances. So in other words, our perspective or mindset plays a pivotal role. Many of us do not believe that we can be happy no matter what the external circumstances might be. When we are confronted with the idea that happiness is ultimately in the mind, we immediately entertain the extreme examples to discredit this theory and ask questions such as, could we be happy if we lose our job? So to answer this, I'm going to go to number 4. When we ask ourselves if we can be happy in extreme versus moderate negative circumstances, such as I just mentioned previously, it is essentially the wrong question to ask. If we ask such a question, we undermine the confidence we need to develop. We need to develop the ability to be happy under all circumstances, and it is not just a simple flip of the switch. Take this for an example. Just as children can't imagine being as strong as an adult when they pick up something heavy, so doing something physical, so many of us have not yet developed the ability to interpret or assume a more positive perspective during moderate negative events, and thus cannot assume such a perspective during an extreme negative event. To draw on another example, we can think about our ability to control our emotional responses to events as muscle. As we exercise our muscles at gym, they only become stronger when we exercise them using the appropriate weights that are not too light nor too heavy. So our ability to control our emotional response to events gains strength only when we take on challenges that are on par with our current ability. To display the importance of perspective further, let's delve into our negativity bias.